back.
Everyone just waiting for me to reappear, huh?
Actually, no, I just put Hot Pockets in the microwave.
Hey, there you go.
Okay. Well, we wait for those.
No,
So,
you didn't look up. I literally aimed them at the camera. You could see them.
Okay, so yeah. So, you guys are now alone in the Devil's Barrow. It seems like the threat for the moment has passed. The dead bodies of the Goblin Fian lie in the strange, dark grasses around you.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems that Harmon has come back from the land of the dead. So, what's your next play?
They really want their sword back.
I can tell.
But they're not going to get it back.
You managed to escape with one of their swords.
Well, you know, the most damning thing that occurred to me in those first opening moments of that fight way back when was that the thing left the sword laying on a fence post, so I literally could have grabbed it and not had to deal with that fight. But you know, the fight was the point as well.
Of course. Well, there's a great many things to tell you, not the least of which that, your love, is actually going out to hunt you.
Oh, I guess no fury like a woman scorned, I guess. I don't know what I did to her that would cause her to have such a reaction, though. I thought
Well,
we
she
were
was
on
hoping
good
to
terms.
rescue you.
That's not what a hunt is.
That's more of a search party.
Yes, I mean, clearly you're not the one who should be delivering news.
Well, I've never been good at it. Still, something to think about.
I'm just saying that if the Abattoir government was to say they're hunting the doctor, you're probably not going to think good things, right? The first thought isn't, oh, they really want me, they need me back.
You should send her a letter, is what I'm telling you.
How can I send her a letter if I don't know where she is?
Messengers can find her.
It's not how messengers work.
Or you could start running after her very quickly.
You know, the first thing you do for a messenger is you tell them where you want your message delivered.
Still, Harmon, you've somehow found your way out here. Did you happen to see any bandits around this area?
Harmon hasn't been... Harmon, you, up until just this moment, basically, you have been traveling through the weird labyrinthine forests of the Goblin world. So as far as you know, either these guys have fallen into the Goblin world, or you have crossed through, finally back into the material plane.
Well, I mean, the first thing I said was, oh, I'm across the island now. I think that was pretty telling to think that I thought that I was still in the Phelan domains.
Yeah, so, but the short answer is that he would not have seen anybody.
I'm like Robin Williams at the beginning of Jumanji.
Yeah.
What year is it?
Yep.
Alright. Well, we did have our assigned task out here. We were actually looking for some. It's quite a little bit foggy, though, and we haven't seen any trace of them yet.
Oh, well, before the doctor starts telling me about the weather, can I ask that maybe that other thing be made a goal or a gift? No, goal.
The other thing,
leaving the
vis-a-vis Harmon's history?
Oh, no, sorry, not that. I mean, God, now that you put that on the table, that's all I can think about. No, the thing that Griffin just said.
Oh, yeah.
And no, I don't mean the weather.
Gotcha, yeah, about Colette.
Griffin's opening gambit on conversation. It is misty out here.
Okay, yeah, that's a good call. I like that. A goal. I guess what would the goal be? To find Colette, to contact her, to inform her that Harmon is alive.
I mean,
it's probably the most accurate. But
the doctor was going to put it in terms, he would say, hunt down Colette. That's not how I'd like to put it.
Hunter
That should
through
be
the
the goal.
wilderness.
Hunt down Colette.
I like I guess I like inform Colette that Harmon lives. I like it because it could be accomplished in multiple ways. It probably means hunting her down or tracking her to some degree, but it could also be something that you send Anushka out to try to do, or hire people to go and try to accomplish as well. You don't necessarily have to do it yourself, but it might take longer if you don't do it yourself. So I should probably write that down. Kitten, you gotta get off my desk. Oh, yeah, come on. You can't be up here. There you go. Thank you. Okay. Colette. Herman lives. Goal. Cool. Okay. So that is a good goal. In the meanwhile, you are still sort of in the midst of the Devil's Barrow, and you're not 100% sure you could find your way out without considerable effort, and you still have not found any sign of the Shade's children, the bandits that you were looking for. So, at this point, I'm going to ask for a searching check, and I guess the question is, do you guys want to keep searching for the Shade's children, or do you want to try to get out of this supernatural quagmire?
I do believe Shade's children is in fact the goal here. I got some decent searching. What would be the stat to go along with that? Mind, I guess?
I think mind, but we're also abstracting this out a little bit. So here's what I would go with. I wrote this down in advance. Devil's Barrow. There we go. Yes. So, locate the bandit hideout. I would say mind and body and endurance and searching. And I think it should be a group check with a quota. So I'm looking for 5 successes on this check, and everyone gets to roll. Mind, body, endurance, and searching.
I got 5 dice, and I come up with 3.
Nice. So we just need 2 more.
Harmon got 2 on his, just for being
good.
enduring.
Nice.
Nobody else can search but me, by the way. And it's only my searching dice that came up good.
Okay. Well, I mean, how lawfully do we want to play this? Do we want to give like bonus dice to the doctor for it, or
you said we were trying to meet a quota, so we've each put in our pool to the quota and each helped out. That's how we
That's how I intended it to go. So we'll go with that. And it looks like you guys got a total of 6 successes. So, as you are, because we're using body and endurance, this has taken several hours of hunting around. And as you are peering through into the mists, you find more of these strange rock formations. You hear the sounds of howls, as I said before. Occasionally, you think you hear the flapping of wings once again. And more than once, you see in the distance the flickering glow of light that you imagine must be a campfire or something. But when you approach it, you find nothing in its place. And after you have all but given up all hope, Doctor, you come across at the base of a hill, a large stone that to your eyes does not seem to match the other stone structures and collections of rocks that you've come across. No, to you, this looks like it has been deliberately placed to block an entrance into the side of this hill, although it looks like it will take a tremendous amount of strength to move it. It's something you think that you with the assistance of Harmon, could probably accomplish.
A giant boulder that requires strength to move. We would need someone of immense stature and strength, someone peerless in this realm to perhaps move this boulder. Sir Khan, do you know where we could find someone like that?
Connor flexes.
What about you, Harmon? Do you know anyone like that?
I feel like our relationship is tinged by that
Looks
one
over
time that you
Harmon,
made me
looks over
kill my best
Falker.
friend.
No, Harmon is just like the carry on gesture.
Oh, no, you didn't hear me. Sorry, I was still on the screen, but you guys can't hear me when I'm talking.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
No, I said that I feel like our relationship is a bit tinged from that one time that you made me kill my best friend.
Well, let's not dwell on the past. We have a boulder.
I feel like that expression is one you would describe as flabbergasted.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Boulder.
Well, the boulder will not move itself. Anyone who wants to attempt to move the boulder should give me a body, and I guess this would also be body endurance, but if you have strength, you could add that in as well. But you'll want the target number is going to be 5, so you'll want 6s or higher to budge this thing.
I'll assist Harmon.
I will stand back.
Okay. That is enough to assist. But Harmon rolled a 10 on his body as well. And do you have 3 dice for endurance?
No,
Or that was the assist die.
No,
Gotcha,
the
gotcha.
D8 was the strength. D12. The D8 was a D12 for strength. I have improved
Gotcha.
strength.
Okay. Well, yeah. For Harmon, this is a straightforward matter of just applying strength. And the boulder shifts and moves, and lo, does reveal a small stone entrance carved into the side of this hill. And as you peer inside, you can see that there is firelight at the end of the tunnel. And you realize that there must be some sort of cave system or something, cavern, dug into the side of this hill. Certainly intentionally, this is not a natural occurrence. And you can hear whispers and voices from inside, but with the ease at which Harmon moved the boulder, you don't think anyone in there has taken notice of you. So you could approach stealthily if you would like to.
Probably would be our best bet initially.
Of course, I never do that, so.
But of course, we never do that. Well, just as well, I'm terrible at it, and for good measure, I am wearing both armor and white robes now. There we go.
Good.
I'm burdened, slower, and much louder for it.
I like it. Let's see here. Okay, so then what's the approach? Are you going to declare yourselves out front? You're going to call in? Light a fire and smoke them out?
Well, considering that we're here for parlay, I'd say announcing ourselves would be the best bet. Sneaking up on them and surprising them and causing them to grab their weapons in a panic would be the worst thing we could do, I think.
Yeah, what are you guys here for?
Oh, you see this fox here? I am at least convinced that he may be one of the Rinaldi, and these people here are said to have a sword that can that glows upon contact with a true heir of the throne of Rinaldi. Now, I could be wrong, and we'll have to fight our way out, but it's worth a shot.
Red.
Yo.
We're gonna have some words. If we walk into this place and it's a small forest clearing with a bunch of stones, and on top of the stones is a pedestal with a sword sitting in it. Because I think we all recognize that this is the foggy area at the beginning of Zelda where you find the Master Sword.
I'm sorry, but Zelda does not have the copyright on foggy areas. I know
that you have to walk through a small maze-like area covered in fog in the middle of a forest where you find a sword on a pedestal. I do believe it does, actually.
There's just
Technically,
one thing
it's
I
in
the middle
want
of the
from this.
plains.
I want this to resolve with Harmon pulling a sword out of the stone, but the stone's still attached to it, and he just says, I am the Rinaldi here.
I mean, in
He just lifts the
fairness,
whole anvil up and is just like,
nothing says that you had to take the sword out of the anvil, right?
You just have
I
to
have
take
the sword. Ownership is 9/10 of the law.
Whoever wields it with the anvil.
oh, nice.
You fools,
like it.
this wasn't a sword and an anvil. This was an anvil sword.
It's just a
So
new kind of
Connor, if
sword.
we are going to announce ourselves, should I go ahead and give you a rousing introduction? And so I am
Please.
the master of starting conversations, as we've seen.
Yes, please.
Hello there, vagabonds, bandits, and otherwise. You are now in the presence of Sir Connor, Ekushare? Yeah, there we go, sorry. Had to correct myself. He is here to parley with you on good terms if you would have it. Please step forward and announce yourselves.
You hear a hush from inside the room, a couple whispers, and then finally a voice echoes back out through the entrance. They say, Sir Connor, I don't know him. We'll come out and speak, but you should know that we have a dozen men in here, all armed and all ready to lay their lives down for the rightful king. And should you try to stay us from this purpose, we will strike you down as well.
Connor will call out, we are here to aid you in your purpose.
Wait, what?
Please
Really?
come
Where are
forward.
we?
We are not here to attack you.
I didn't know that's why we're here. I thought we were here for the sword. Oh, carry on.
Okay. So, several individuals exit from the from this cave entrance. They are led by a red fox who is dressed in peculiar assortment of clothing, sort of a bandit's garb in a dark, dingy, forested green color that does remind you of something cloaks that you have seen before, at least for those of you who have been around that long. Namely Connor, I guess, in this case. I guess Harmon too. Yeah, Harmon as well. So, as you, this fox steps out, he introduces himself. He says, they call me Antonio, of the Children of the Shade, and this is my brethren. And he sweeps a hand over the collection of 8 other animals, all of them of various species and dress, although each of them is wearing a similar forest green colored cloak. Let's see. He greets you, Connor, as a noble. He kind of will bow and take a knee, but then he stands up and he says, you say that you wish to help us in our quest. Is this true?
Yes. From what I understand, people in this area have taken possession of a certain sword that glows when in contact with the Rinaldi, with heirs of the Rinaldi. And we may have one such here. If you would bring the blade forward, and you may keep your hold on it and just allow this man here, he gestures to Mercurio, to touch the hilt. That is all we wish to know.
So when you say that and you usher Mercurio forward, there's startled gasps and whispers that usher from the crowd. Standing in the back of the crowd, there's a large bear who his eyes grow wide, and he begins to mutter a prayer. You imagine that this bear probably is the one who's in charge of moving the block, as he stands a good head and shoulders above the rest of the group. After a brief moment of these whispers, the fox Antonio says, "Silence. This is very intriguing. You brought us one who does appear to be the man we seek. Is it true, Fabrizio? Is this you, the last surviving heir of the Rinaldi?" And to that, Mercurio cocks his head a little and he says, "Ah, well, they call me Mercurio. I unfortunately have, I'm just a wandering acolyte who many have mistakenly assumed might be the man you're looking for. I have gaps in my memory, so I cannot be certain." And this ushers another series of whispers and gasps from the crowd. He says, "I serve at the behest of my lord, Sir Connor, so I will do what he asks of me. But I do not believe that I am this man that you seek." Antonio will confer with his colleagues and returns, and he'll say, "Well, we do not have the sword in our possession, unfortunately, and so we cannot confirm the true identity of this supposed Fabrizio. However, we have an idea of where the sword may be. Our agents were captured in the taking of it, and they hid it somewhere. And due to the guard activity, we assume that they have not yet spoken. One such guard has been taken into our custody and questioned by our mind wizard." And he snaps his fingers and he gestures to an owl who holds himself with the air of a scholar. And he says, "Based on his interrogation, we have determined that the sword itself has been likely stashed, hidden within a small town known as Oatvale, not far outside the city limits of Enclume. We have yet to dispatch agents to go find it. However, currently the entire countryside is crawling with Enclume agents, with Enclume soldiers, and so the way is difficult for us."
And yet the way would not be difficult for one such as I.
He
We've already
nods.
come across these patrols, and they tend to leave us be.
All right, then. If you would go and investigate. However, if you do find the sword, then you have the heir and the sword together. I'm afraid that we will need some insurance. We need to be present for this transaction. I could send some individuals alongside you to aid you in your journey and as insurance. Alternatively, we could have the fox stay here, if that would be amenable with you. Mercurio gives you kind of like a nervous look.
I think he would rather stay with us.
I assure you he would be quite safe.
You can send people with us if you wish.
Connor always has plenty of people hanging on to him. I'm sure a few more wouldn't be unusual. Hey, Connor, you didn't roll allies yet, did you?
No, I did not.
No,
Do you want to and see how many of them come with you?
Yeah, let's do that now.
All right, let me look up what that roll is.
Does
I think
that sorry, not to interrupt while you're doing the math.
Okay.
Does that not take away from these guys a little bit? Since your regulars are like typicals?
I mean, I suppose so.
We are
They
the
can't
knights.
all be elites.
We are the knights destined to guard the life of the king. We are also normal, ordinary people.
ordinary
You can always have
guys.
a
Well,
puffed up sense of importance, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't think this is definitely a ragtag gang, and it's very possible that many of them are typicals. Like, they don't look particularly
That's
special.
what I'm saying. It's like you got to the
Yeah.
end of the Indiana Jones movie, and the old man guarding the Holy Grail looks all menacing and powerful because he's an old wizened man from the Crusades, and then, well, let's make him a regular. Nope, now he's just an old man who's stuck in a cave because he couldn't figure out the clues to get back across the bridge.
I mean, that's literally all he was. He was just standing there talking. That doesn't require a D8.
Well, I'm sure they had at least a few typicals with them filling out the ranks, so we could pick those up.
And
Yeah.
the moral here is that immortality means nothing to push-ups. And that guy did not do his push-ups. So, he skipped leg day.
Being
And it
immortal
showed.
forever in a cave with a bunch of cups, yeah, I'll pass on that, I think.
What are you talking about? That guy was built. I don't know
armor
what you're
is
saying. You
very
didn't do.
impressive.
You skipped push-ups and leg day. That dude was a jacked old man. I don't know what you're talking about.
Dude, as soon as he stood up, he was like, "Oh shit!" and he fell over.
He probably hasn't
to
stood up
me-
in 1,000 years. We try sitting down for 1,000 years.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
that's,
what I mean,
that's the thing.
though.
Like, if all you're doing is sitting around there watching the cups for 1,000 years,
Yeah.
like, not
Immortality
good
is
immortality.
but you still gotta do
Okay,
your
okay.
calisthenics. You still gotta do your push-ups. You gotta do your
That
squats.
guy is a built old man. Don't tell me that guy could not take you.
I mean, in his day, sure, but he could barely lift his own sword.
Maybe the
He
sword
wasn't working out.
was made from a dark star, okay? Maybe he has the key.
Oh, okay.
Maybe his sword is made out of the key that opens the Fortress of Solitude, okay? Maybe.
Maybe Mickey knows will come and help him learn his true power.
You guys are laughing, but the dude is fucking immortal. Literally, he's a
I'm not taking-
superhero.
That's true. I'm not taking anything away from the dude. He
There are
seems
plenty
like-
of DC superheroes where their entire motif is, hey, I'm a knight that's immortal.
I guess, yeah. So, yeah. I'm just saying he could have done some push-ups, and maybe he wouldn't have fallen over when he tried to attack Indy.
But the dude hasn't fucking eating food in 1,000 years. All he has is
Yeah.
a cup and some water. He looks
Yeah.
amazing compared to... And he's only been cutting his hair with a giant sword.
Oh,
Does that
yeah.
mean, like, the Cup of Christ actually adds calories to water, then?
Ugh, it's like
Well, it
smart
has
water.
to because it's creating flesh from nothing.
Yeah, and so if there's energy in and there's calories involved, so I guess, like, the water is now mostly fat or something, just for energy density. Just nice big cup full of butter.
Well, it's not, though, because you've seen it. It's actually clear water.
Yeah.
It's
Ugh,
crystal clear butter, I
water.
guess.
My problem here is you're trying
It's
to
palm
apply...
oil now.
You're
There
applying
you go. It's
science
palm
to
oil.
magic.
Yes, that's true.
I'll apply as much science as I want.
Okay, so I'm sorry, Connor. Did we make the roll?
Yes, I have 2 successes, so that gives me 3 irregulars.
Okay. So a selection of sorry. A selection of these ragtag woodland critters will agree to accompany you on this quest and to keep an eye on Mercurio and on the sword. Let's see here. Okay. Didn't do that. All right.
Did you
Okay.
roll your Potter assistance? Yeah, you did. 'Cause that's the last
Welcome
time.
back,
There you go.
Griff.
Hey, sometimes I don't read, okay?
I know, that's why I
Just
made the
skim.
joke. That's where the joke comes from.
Okay. You've chosen poorly. While you guys are working out the logistics of this, you can't help but notice that this owl, he's staring intently at Mercurio, and also staring intently at Harmon. after a while, he will totter over and he's going to introduce himself. He says, pardon me, but I am Frederick. I have come to this, well, I consider myself a bit of a shepherd of this movement, you can call it. And I am quite interested in how it was you came across this very convincing candidate for our lost Rinaldi heir. And I guess at this point he's addressing the doctor, but he does keep shooting looks over at Harmon. Unsure what it is, but he seems like he recognizes Harmon's capacity.
Right. And I see no reason not to be honest about this fact. We found him in a monastery in Hane. They said that he came to them without anything on him, and seemed incredibly confused at the time. They took care of him for a while and showed them their ways. And then when we arrived, they passed the responsibility off onto us, as they could do nothing to restore his memory.
That is quite interesting. I have a part of my function here among this group is as an interpreter. I have studied some in the ways of the green and purple magics, and although some of these men may seem lowborn and ragtag, they have all heard the call of our late departed king. He still speaks to us, and I happen to have the accumulated knowledge such that I can interpret his sayings to the rest of the group. I have met him too. I have seen him up close, and I must say that your friend's resemblance is an uncanny one. I wonder, you say that he's lost his memory. Perhaps I can help him recover it. I do have some experience in these things.
You wouldn't be the first to try, but you would be welcome to. You said he bears a resemblance. Did you happen to know someone that you think he is?
Well, I have spent some time in the employ of nobles and king. Once when I was young, I did meet His Majesty, or meet maybe not so much as shared a room with him. But more so than that, I have spoken with him personally here in the Barrow. His shade haunts this place, and although it is a strange and deformed image, it is unmistakably that of our late king. And there is a family resemblance, I must say, he says. Mercurio is approaches and asks him to tell him something of the late king, of his purported father. And the owl goes on and waxes poetically about the nobility of the late Rinaldi king, about his fair and just rulings, about his love for his family, all the kinds of nice things you would say about a departed relative that was well liked and respected.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, a monarch, I suppose. Anyway, but yes, I would gladly try to recover the memories of your friend here.
Mm-hmm. So I do have a thought. So you said it's a shade. It's not a ghost. It's not the soul of those who are departed. It's just but a memory of it. But perhaps that memory would recognize its own son.
Ah,
That is a fine idea.
Perhaps
that would be at least a very
it would.
simple first step.
Mercurio says that he confesses he does not relish the idea of anyone else poking around through his head. It was a very invasive experience, but that he'd be willing to meet this shade if they could conjure him somehow.
Right, this would be far less invasive and much simpler. I don't think you even need to speak to them. I don't think you can. Wait, did they ever teach you white magic?
Yeah. Mercurio kind of shrugs. He's like, he was only actually living there for like 2 weeks. Not long enough to get any real white magic capability.
You just read the pamphlets. Never mind.
There were quite a lot of pamphlets in my defense.
Well, there's
Oh my
quite
God,
a
you
lot
read
of
all
time
the
to read them.
specs.
Well, before I get on to your study habits, I guess let's go talk to a shade.
Okay, so Antonio asks to be present for this conversation, and Frederick has to be, as he is your translator. He says, all right, shades are temperamental, and it's uncertain whether or not one will manifest, but, well, I'll do what I can, and we should venture forth. There is a pool of some description. It is more than a puddle, less than a lake, and is not far from here, but it seems to be the area where the King's Shade most readily manifests. So if you're ready, we will head yonder. And so, accompanied by Antonio and Frederick, you guys could make your way over there. The rest of them are going to stay at their hideout, which is this cavern. I mean, they'll invite you in as well. It looks like it was formerly a catacomb that has been cleared out of dead bodies and turned into a hideout for these bandits. Kind of a grim, morbid
Rumble,
one.
rumble, moving dead bodies from their crypt. Rumble, rumble.
Yeah, I mean, desperate times. It seems like Frederick is interested in sort of smoothing things over with you about this, but Antonio could care less. He's like, you...
It's not like they would have complained about you sleeping with them.
Well, you shouldn't be sleeping with dead bodies.
Yeah. Man.
I mean, pointedly,
Open at
it
all
is a
times,
very
though.
diametrically opposed position that I'm listening to the orders of this dead guy while also messing with these dead people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It opens up a lot of weird...
Well, I hope you didn't just throw them all into a pile somewhere.
No, we have respect for the dead. We
Good.
reburied them. It took the better part of a week, but they were all relocated around in places.
Well, at least they have some dignity left then.
Okay. I'm gonna pull up my shade stat block.
Well, at least 2 or 3 of us can kill the shade.
I think we did last time too, didn't we?
No.
No.
Oh, right. It just disappeared afterwards, yeah.
Yeah.
And that time, none of us could do anything about it.
Well, no. I think I was playing the father at the time, and he could. Just think I was dealing with other things at the time.
Right.
Or I was missing. I can't remember. So long ago now.
It's been a while.
That guy's
All right.
still wandering around too.
It is a 10-minute hike to this pool of foul-looking water. It has sort of like reeds growing out of it, but it is unmistakably a body of water. And as Frederick approaches, he says, all right, give me a moment. And he closes his eyes and he takes a knee, a showing of deference, and mutters, and nothing happens. He looks quite cross, and he turns to you and he says, I'm not sure, but it is not manifesting. it's not exactly a science, this particular school of magic. If there's anything that you guys can think of to help make this shade manifest, that would be a good time.
Well, Sir Connor, you met it before.
I have, but I know nothing of such things. I'm not sure
Yeah.
how I could attract it to this place.
Well, perhaps you could use your bond of nobility to call it out on old law.
I could try. And Connor will formally announce himself. I, Connor Levere de Ecrivis, do hereby wish audience with the true and rightful King of Rinaldi.
It's gonna be super ironic if he does respond, because you were also the one who stated that he was not the true and rightful king the last time you met him.
That is pretty funny. Okay, so I would like will and presence, and you can include your nobility die for this, but I am also going to roll a penalty die because Theta raises a good point, and that point is that you decried him last time. So, doop-doo.
I mean, do it 3 more times and he'll become the Messiah.
It's D10 5. Okay, cool. Yep. So yes, you
I know I butchered the spelling, but I also have etiquette, which should help this.
Gotcha.
I think you'll find you have etiquette.
I spelled it wrong, I know.
Nah, you're good. So, even though you feel no wind, you see ripples moving across the surface of this pond that cause the tall grasses and weeds to stir. And after a moment, you can see in the dark, gloomy surface a reflection of a gray fox wearing tattered royal robes that at one point must have been quite luxurious. He's muttering to himself angrily, and then you can now see this apparition seeming to walk across the surface of the pond towards you, muttering to itself quite angrily. All of the words seem wrong. They're misplaced, as if they're being spoken backwards. The owl is nodding along and says, "Ah, yes, yes. He has come. His Royal Highness is among us. Please show the proper deference." The
Connor will
fox
take a
that
knee.
you're with bows.
I would say that was the thing last time, is that none of us were the right kind of wizard to be able to understand. Glad that's changed.
And we still aren't, yeah.
Yeah. So the fox, Antonio, is going to take a knee in deference. But what are the rest of you guys going to do?
You know what, this king... Yeah, you know, this king hasn't ordered for my death. I'll take a knee.
That's a puzzler, isn't it? Do I take the knee to someone that claims to be a king? Do I respect the memory of the king by taking a knee to anybody that claims to be the king? Is everybody in the room taking a knee?
It seems like everyone else is, but
Peer pressure.
What have I ever been peer pressured? I'm just wondering what the concept here is.
Connor will say quietly, humor it.
God, if only there was some sort of proof. This wouldn't be some sort of mental brain teaser.
Well, the goal is to make this proof.
Well, you can't make proof out of nothing. There has to be proof that this... You can't use a shade as proof that another man could be prince if there's no proof that the shade wasn't himself king.
It would be the strangest of coincidences for the shade to recognize someone like this.
Not really. I mean, it could be just the shades playing us for shade humor.
Or as Gaston pointed out last time, well, this guy is the only one who can communicate with it, so he could just be lying about all of this.
Right, and also, as Connor already knows, there was a gang operating under the guise that the Shade was king and we can do what we want.
Mm-hmm.
I think
how do we know that my green doesn't look like your red? Everything is in question.
How do I know that your pain isn't my pleasure?
There you go. nothing.
Yeah, because we're all each an island, right? There's no shared perspective because I could never know what's going on in your head or even think the same way I do. Harmon doesn't kneel.
Okay. All right. There we go.
Okay.
Okay. So Harmon doesn't kneel. The king seems to be angry and muttering. It's unclear if he can even see any of you. His glancing around, so it's unclear again if he's actually registering that any of you are kneeling or standing. But the owl says, he is in a foul mood, which I guess is the tenet of this, or the method of this shade. It can understand you. You can ask it whatever question you wish. He nudges Mercurio forward, and the gray fox steps forward and is peering at the shade, and you think it looks like he's trying to maybe see if there's any if this triggers any memories, but when he opens his mouth, nothing comes out. He seems to be at a loss for words.
So, Your Highness, would you happen to recognize this one? Are they perhaps familiar to perhaps a memory?
You don't have etiquette, do you?
No.
Okay.
I'm just putting the question out there.
Here's what we're gonna do. I would like presents from you as well. Will and presents, please.
Oh wow, I don't have any presents, or do I? Oh no, I have a D4.
Oh, you're rolling that. Didn't they say the sword was around here somewhere, or they did not know where the sword is?
It's back in the Enclume.
Yeah, they think the sword is by Enclume in a border town.
It's been stashed.
The Enclume are just very bad at searching. Understood.
Yes, we are rolling a penalty die because the deference was not shown. Here.
I have no penalty for social gifts with other cultures. I don't think there's anything else I can necessarily add, unless he's pious.
Would the king have been pious? I guess he kind of has to.
Yeah, he would have been. Because he's the king of the Rinaldi, and the Rinaldi are the ones at first. No, they haven't fought with the first to take the knee. Take the knee to show deference to the Heloise, but the Rinaldi did as well, which is why it spread everywhere else. Yeah, he would have to have been pious.
Yeah,
pious.
I think that makes sense.
All right. There we go. I connect with him on the fact that I am in fact a holy man, and he has some slight respect for it. That is 2 successes over the difficulty die.
All right, I like it. So, in that case, more strange backwards language spills out from the king and from the shade, we'll say. And Frederick nods, taking it in, and he turns and he says, the king is distraught. He recognizes his lost son, stolen from him. And he is filled with sorrow, but more than that, anger. He wishes for revenge, for the usurper to be removed from his throne, and for the kingdom to be returned to his poor maligned son.
All right, and I guess this will be mind inquiry. Our green mage is speaking truthfully and not just making up stuff.
No, okay, yeah. With one success, you see the kind of earnest light in Frederick's eyes that signify a true believer. I'm so sorry. This cat has to get kicked out. Cat, you're messing with my wires. Come on.
Cat, we're speaking with the dead. Get out of here.
Go play with your Ouija board, Salem.
Apparently, I'm almost out of gaming time. That go do other things. So, but we're coming to the end of the session. Yeah. Anywho, so yeah. With one success, you can see that he has the eyes of a true believer, and he speaking with like a quivering, a wavering deference to his voice. suggests he does believe that he is in the, presence of what is ever left of the true king.
And in the presence of a prince now.
Exactly. At this point, Antonio will speak up and say, "Forgive me, my lord, but there's no proof that this is indeed your son. This seems to cause the shade greater irritation.
Which one's
It
Antonio?
takes too quick.
bear.
Antonio is a red fox.
Oh, fox, okay.
Because, I mean, there's no proof that this shade is the king either.
That's true.
I mean, I say that out loud. 2 Antonios.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Antonio is going to turn on Harmon then. He no like you
Wow,
say
I didn't
that.
realize he was that hot.
Oh my god. Good joke, good joke.
Ah, terrible.
And that's the
The
game
GM,
today,
I have to follow what
guys.
the
Good
GM
one.
says.
Oh, man.
It's true. I would not call this necessarily conclusive either, but such a coincidence would seem to suggest more or less that it could very well be true, and that our path towards finding the sword and putting it into Mercurio's hands as a final and true test and full evidence of this claim is a wise course to continue taking.
Okay.
It is your will, of course, Connor, to usurp the throne and throw the whole political climate into further chaos,
Well, doing it this way would be much better than how I had been thinking of doing it, via open warfare. So yes, let's do what we can to find this blade.
Okay. Antonio is very angry. The shade also seems angry, but as we established, that's kind of his modus operandi.
Personality,
So-
angry.
Yeah.
He's always throwing shade.
But as the conversation between you continues, the shade begins to lose opacity. It starts to fade away into disgruntled mutterings, and the Frederick says, "It is gone for now. We've lost whatever connection we had." He turns to Antonio and he says, "That's should be proof enough. This is our heir." And Antonio will say, "Well, I suppose the sword will tell us for true, but in the meantime, I do not trust this mission to those that do not actually have faith in the true king." And he's looking at Harmon right now, giving him like a scrunched nose.
Faith is ascribed to
stare.
the church, not to the monarchy.
So what we do now is for the good of the people. The righteous king will end this horrible war and will cease the poverty and the inequality that strikes us throughout Triskellion and all of Calabria.
Excuse me,
That's
one
all.
moment. Are you planning to put the shade on the throne?
Well, he couldn't do a worse job.
Nobody can understand him. He can't speak the native tongue.
The owl
That means
pipes
we
in
can't
and
order
says,
any
"Now,
food this time.
no one is suggesting that we put shade on the throne.
We do have the real and living right here, and I'll put a hand on Mercurio.
But we don't know that either. There is no proof, and I can't take the word of an unproven shade as king either. There needs to be evidence. If I question it, other people will question it. I'm not special.
Antonio is furious, but you can see that Frederick does see the wisdom in what you just said, because it is true. And he puts a wing on Antonio's shoulder and says that this is a point. We do need the sword. We do need some sort of tangible evidence.
And what about you, Mercurio? How are you feeling? Has any memory been jogged? You feel excited to be nobility?
Mercurio is trembling, and you can see there are tears in his eyes, and he says, "Yes, I do. I remember that fox's face. It was younger and less haggard, but I do think yes, I do recall." And you can see that he's on the verge of tears now. It does appear that some sort of memory is coming back to him.
All right, so I'll go ahead and walk Mercurio away, just so he doesn't have to be sobbing in front of everyone else,
Oh, that's very
and help him calm down, and maybe help jog his memory slowly. Just ask him a few questions, like, "Do you remember A, B, C," kind of things.
Yeah, there's still large gaps in his memory from what you can tell from the questions that you ask, but he seems to have memories of childhood in the castle, the Don Rinaldi castle, and yeah, glimpses of things here and there, kind of general things, but they do paint a picture of a boy and his loving monarch father.
Well, I mean, the thing is,
Fondly oppressing peasants in the spring.
if we were heading back towards the Enclume area, we would be passing by Condescente once again, and we could have those memories checked. And then what you do is you have those memories checked twice to verify that it's not just one, because they have to be repeatable, replicatable memories. Otherwise, they could be delusions.
We do have one right here with us as well.
Right, but we want one with a college degree, as it were. We want a reputable source that is respected by his peers. Otherwise, they'll come into question who told you what. And we need to be able to point back to someone that everybody will agree with. And then we'll need to point at a second person to show that those memories were replicatable and both parties independent of one another were able to verify.
That would be a solid chain of evidence, yeah.
Well, if we're going south, we'll be passing by anyway, so we may as well make the stop, right?
Yeah, I guess why not? Yeah.
We do have our plan, don't we, Sir Connor?
We do.
All right.
So I'll look at Antonio and our bird, and I will go ahead and give them my respect. I have to thank you for helping us restore this man's memory. It's not very much yet, but perhaps it will grow in time. I think this is a great step for him towards recovery.
Antonio is gloomy, and gives you kind of a silent nod. The owl Frederick is filled with his own tearful, joyous excitement, right? Energy. He says, "Oh, we are grateful to do what we can for your friend, but even more grateful that he has come to us, that you have brought him to us, and that we may have what we need. For a long time now, it has felt like a dream that we would be able to right the wrongs and end the injustices, but you're making that dream a reality, all of you." And
perhaps one day it will come true.
Indeed. We have already set the wheels in motion. And then Antonio shoots him like a dirty look, and he says, "I should not say more, but we will speak more of this once you have recovered the sword and, I suppose validated the veracity of our good friend's lineage here." Speaking of lineage, and he's going to look over at Harmon as well. He says, I mentioned that I spent my formative years in the service of nobility, and I must say I was trained in guarding the lineage, the historical documents of lineage of royalty in the Avoirdupois lands. And during that time, I have met many of the Archduke's personal family. There's a striking resemblance. Now, I know, obviously, you are not of the horse breed, but tell me, good sir, do you know of where your family hails from?
I mean, my father was, this is the moment I realized I never named my own father. I have his last name, I just never named his first name.
James
Ah.
Baxter.
Yes, James Baxter Delaroy. No, my father was... Sorry, choking. My father was Elridge de Polier. Though I am a bastard.
Huh. This is Frederick is scratching his chin there, and he says, I see. I have some documents. I need to track them down. But I'm going to do some independent research. However, the results might startle you if my guess is correct. When you return with your sword in hand, perhaps we can speak further on this.
This was the owl, right?
This is the owl.
I love how the owl's coming off as a top 10 list. Number 2 will surprise you.
The results may surprise you.
We conducted an independent study onto the brushing habits of adolescent youth. The results might surprise you.
Turns out they have way too many fleas. And I have the solution for you for $9.99.
There you go. Yep.
I mean, I would
So, yeah.
also take a moment to talk to Antonio.
Oh, okay, yeah. Antonio doesn't want to talk to you.
Yeah, I understand. He's brooding
But
and moody
yes.
and whatnot.
He's being broody.
I mean, I'll talk at him then. I'm good at that as
Okay.
well.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't have the skills to talk to people. I have the skills to talk at people, which doesn't require die rolls.
Fair enough.
All right. I see him moody and brooding. I say, though it may seem that I'm against you, know that I do appreciate any cause which seeks to aid people in need, and that which might dispose unjust authority over those that would harm itself. And I recognize that your service towards what you deem to be the king is one that is meant to aid all of us. I do not stand against you in this. I merely seek to know that things are done justly and rightly. I do not seek to become your enemy by speaking against you, only that I seek that you do right on the proper path. And if you wish not to speak to me ever again, or see my way into yours, that is fine. I travel the paths placed before me. I have no problem with that. However, I will not falter where I see rightness done.
He considers your words for a moment, and then he says, I'm not in a position where I can be, where I can discriminate those willing to serve my cause. It's clear that you are a seasoned warrior, quite capable, and we can use as many of those as we can find. And so, it seems that our intentions for the moment are aligned. If this Mercurio is indeed the heir, then it is my duty to see that he is on the throne. But I am not yet convinced. He is not the only potential that we have come across. And you, while your words seem noble and just, something I do not yet trust you. So we will see if you can live up to your ideas.
You don't need to trust me is the thing. As I have spoken before, against your so-called king and against this so-called prince, evidence is its own trust. You don't need to hear my words and act against me. You only need to see how my sword arm swings and acts for you. At the same time, I do not trust a king, dead as he may to be the king without evidence. I do not trust a prince to be a prince without evidence. I do not seek to depose a king merely to replace one with an unknown. If we believe in the trueness and the rightness of the blood of the king, then we should replace the king with one proven to be as such.
I suppose I see no fault in that logic. And I think that's what you'll get, yeah. He gives you like a nod. He's got a hand on his sword hilt, and he just sort of like brushes past you. So you haven't made a friend, but you have avoided making that speech.
Oh yeah, no. I assumed he was going to be my enemy anyway, so only upwards to go.
There you go. Yeah.
Upwards or he dies.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, effectively, you take a swing at Harmon, it's your life, right?
Oh, yeah.
Harmon does have a habit of letting people live, though, so it's not like all you gotta do
true.
is survive the first hit.
Yeah.
You can get
And
away.
then back down. Yep.
I accept all surrenders.
Okay. I feel like this is a good stopping point. We're a little bit early, but we still have the debriefing to do. So, is there any last actions that people would like to take before we wrap up for the session?
I would like to destroy the asteroid falling to Earth.
How about I go
body and strength?
How about I go ahead and do a medicine for myself right now, because I am injured.
Yes.
Or actually, I could pray my healing away.
2 successes. Do I destroy the asteroid?
Oh, that's right. Healing is on rally, so I have to take the slow route.
Yeah, you would need a ordainment gift in order to rally yourself.
I'm gonna start with the medicine, and I'm gonna eat some food with it. And so that is still right, and target body, so an extra d6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yay, cool. So I go from 24 to 20.
Nice. And you're carousing with the Shade's children. To Theta's question, Theta, you don't destroy the asteroid, but you do divert it or break it into small enough pieces that they fall into separate orbits around it. So you have avoided an apocalypse event. And Connor, anything for you or Potter before we wrap up?
I don't have anything pressing to do at the moment besides just find that blade, so I'm good for now.
Okay, cool. Then let's get into the debrief. First, let's look at our goals. I think, let's see.
Are his memories back?
He seems to have regained memories. Where did I write this down? There we go.
Herc Mercurial regain his lost memory. And it sounds like you already have an idea of what you wanted to give us.
Yeah. Did I?
Did you?
Did I now?
Of course you did.
I probably should have. This has been on the docket for quite some time, and yet I don't have anything written down. So, no, I don't have any idea. Do you guys have any idea of what gift should come with helping a prince regain his stolen memories?
If you want to call this a major story beat, you could just say, hey, get increased trait.
Ooh, I like that. Increased trait could work. What's the mystic skill? It's like mystic gift is like additional advantage on rolls
It's a
about
D12 when dealing with those magics.
Not when casting, just when knowing about them.
When doing academic research into his history, inquiring about incidents related to it, or attempting to detect supernatural traces of it.
You know what? I kind of like that. I don't expect anyone to hold on to it, but you guys have been messing with a lot of this thought stuff in Cognoscenti. You've run into more than a few. But I would say Mystic green and purple magic would make sense as a nice buyback gift.
I have 3 different mystics right now.
You keeping it?
I'm probably gonna keep it. I need to be the research man.
I do appreciate it. By the time I got back over to my sheet and get the relevant section of the sheet, it went from increased trait to mystic.
Yeah, increased trait is really cool. That's the one that I doubt anyone would sell back. No one's selling
So
that
I've
back.
gone from an increased trait to 5 XP because I don't need Mystic at all ever. Mystic what now? So I can mark it on my sheet properly.
Blue, green and
Green and
purple.
purple magic.
Blue and purple. Magenta
Because I
magic.
mean, at this
Perps.
point, my sellback list, I don't need any of the shit you've been giving me.
I know. Yeah.
Right, you have a focus. Like, Harmon is not about, like, dipping in gently into other things. Harmon is about doing his thing.
Well, I don't know. Is Arcloid gonna keep Mystic green and purple?
Nope.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not
It's all
discounting
for
it.
me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not discounting it, but increased trait would have at least done something for me.
I'm gonna be a white magic, black magic, green and purple magic, doctor.
I was just looking, oh, my species is only a D8. I can just put out the detail. Oh, what's that? Mystic? Okay, fuck.
I like it. Well, like I said, these are supposed to be kind of throwaway.
Well, major gifts are supposed to be pretty good, while minor gold gifts are supposed to be things like Insider.
Yeah. So
So
this
if you
is
wanna
maybe
call this a
slightly
major
better
gift.
than it, honestly. So that's good.
You also only slightly got some of his memories back. You didn't crack the whole nut, so
Yeah, I guess when we get the sword, that should probably be a major gift.
yeah. And getting the sword is a big deal. So yeah.
I'm sitting on 9 experience.
Oh, so close.
I have 8. I think I might save this so I can raise my body to D12. And then I'll have
Nice.
D12s in all my combat rules.
I could
Yeah,
get
I would
better
say
at
that's
skills.
the thing. I would just say it in the stream. Harmon was a monster back in the day, but you guys have gotten quite a bit of time to catch up. So now Harmon is just Harmon.
Yeah, I'm thinking I probably do want to increase my traits, but getting skills could probably be good too. I just don't know what I've increased right now. Something to think about.
Cool.
I'm sure I'll get something cool next time, or even multiple cool things.
Yeah, I gotta go spend time in the what's the time
Also,
chamber called? I forgot.
hyperbolic time chamber.
Hyperbolic time
Yeah,
chamber.
well, I was thinking of that at the gravity chamber from the pod.
Isn't that just what the goblin dimension is for you?
Yep.
I mean, technically, sure. Have a little montage of Harmon just killing goblins every day.
I also can't help but notice we're back on the main plot finally. Yeah, we did it.
Kind of,
Congratulations,
yeah.
everybody.
We'll see. We'll see if we can get to some sort of satisfying conclusion to all of this mess. But yeah. Let's see. See what happens.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'm not that committed one way or the other, so. But we're here now.
I did have one debrief thing.
Yeah.
Bring up. Just more of a question of what you're doing. When you make an opposed roll, are you just doing rotes for opposition?
It depends, but generally, yeah. When you mean opposed roll, like
you had Griffin roll a mind and inquiry to see if somebody was doing the telling the truth or whatever, and that's usually a deception roll on the opposite side's part. And you said, "Oh, you have 1 success." So I'm just wondering if you're rolling or if you're doing rotes, so you don't have to roll opposition rolls.
Right. In that case, so in that case, I guess I fudged it. I was looking for a success because there really wasn't anything to discover in that case. So, but you're right. Generally, I should be doing rotes against, like, that's your static DC would be based on rote.
I mean, because the big example of that is typically like if we're sneaking through a place, we roll our stealths, but the guards all take their rotes because it's not really a fairness thing to.
Yeah.
I think, like, in a mechanical sense, when it comes to, like, discovering that someone is honest, what do you have an honest person roll to demonstrate that they're honest? The answer is, I never know.
Well,
that's tricky,
that's
right?
also
in any system.
That falls into don't roll if there's nothing to roll for.
Yeah.
Are they
That's
telling
true.
the truth? Don't roll. They're telling the truth.
That's true. To be fair,
Mhm.
I will say in this case, Griffin did roll before asking. He just said, "I'm just rolling. This is to see if he's honest." So
Yeah, that is fair.
There
I guess
were
also I'm
earlier-
the one who, the previous instance we did this, brought up the most opposition to it of, he's literally could just be controlling the truth in front of us. Why are we believing them?
Well, I'm just using that as an example. It's happened before plenty of times
Yeah.
where you just roll and
Yeah.
your counting fours are better when it's
Harmon
supposed
has
to be.
inherited my previous position.
Well, I'm just saying it's well, in the rules it's supposed to be oppositional. It's
yeah.
if they have no deceit and they're lying to you, then it should be obvious unless they have really good willpower. Or it's like
Yeah, no, you're
dice
right.
dice are swinging. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's something that I should do more. Maybe it's a holdover from other games where I'm used to setting static DCs. It's an interesting. I don't know if I would say it's a limitation of this game, but it's definitely something that is. I feel like in a lot of games you can just, if you need a character, in a moment you can make it up. In this game, it's not that complicated to gen up a character, but it is something that that you're kind of expected to do because all of the different pieces of the character contribute to these kinds of roles, right?
I mean,
So
at the same time though, it's like, are they typical or are they elite? Or you just think to yourself, how strong do I want this guy to be? And it's like, okay, I want him to be a typical. So he has D6s. Do I want him to be a good liar? That's 2D6. That's my die. You don't actually have to make the whole character. You just want to know, do I want him to be a good liar? Do I want him to be a typical?
Yeah, that's probably like a reasonable rule of thumb. Like, if they're a throwaway character, give them a throwaway thought for their stats.
I mean, at the same time, if we start coming at you, well, this career doesn't have deceit. Well, that's the time you just tell us to shut the fuck up, because that's going too far.
I guess so. That's the thing I'm afraid of.
The information. Yeah.
He had 3 skill marks.
Afraid.
He had two skill marks in deceit. Shut the fuck up.
He has a wider and more lived life than just his career, okay? He also learned how to lie because he hates people.
Yeah. Well, in the future, I will try to stick with that rule of thumb. I'll say it's also a little bit weird to roll privately for that kind of stuff, but if you guys are comfortable with me taking rotes, then I will make sure that I'm doing the math and
you don't have
taking
to
the
roll
rote
privately
instead.
either.
I guess I could roll publicly too. It's awkward in cases like this where like plot information is on the line, specifically in the case of the like, oh, do you know, like this is something I hate in 5e when they're like, oh, do you know where the treasure is? I roll insight. I failed. So
well, I mean,
no,
it falls under it falls under the purview of like, okay, I know I failed the roll. Doesn't mean that I can't trust what the GM is saying. Because, like, is this guy lying? No, he's telling the truth. And it's like, well, he thinks he's telling the truth, but he is lying in a greater aspect. And it's like,
totally.
Yeah, I know I failed the roll, so I don't believe he's telling the truth line. But at the same time, he does believe he's telling the truth. So
yeah, it's like, of course, the fanatics entirely believe what they're saying.
That's true. I think for my money, I feel like it's frustrating to have the math visible in these cases because, not saying that it's you guys, but I do have players who use that to jump to conclusions, even if they're baseless conclusions. Because you're right, if you fail your insight check, it doesn't automatically mean that whatever I'm saying. But then people tend to jump to those conclusions as well. Again, not you guys.
No, it is me.
Yeah,
I love jumping to baseless conclusions.
Right.
Like, when I played
which is
D&D
why I like to
5,
keep that stuff secret.
Yeah, when I play D&D 5, if I botch or roll real low on, say, an insight to find traps, not insight, investigation, I'll say, oh, there's no traps, and I'll just boldly go forward and,
I mean, in some regard, playing up the loss is kind of fun, and that's the way you want to do it. You want to just go like, yeah, I know I failed, and there probably is still traps here, but, this is the information I have. Let's just roll with it, because it's fun.
Well, yeah, like I was just saying on stream, it's more fun to do things to not do things. I like to make up I like to see the math of the roll, make up an entire storyline about that, what that roll meant, baselessly with no point, and then live in my world because my world doesn't change the rest of the game world or what the GM thinks. So
Mhm, mhm.
when I do things that are stupid, fucked up, and don't matter, I'm
Yeah.
the only one who has to pay the consequence.
Okay, well, going forward, let's try to make all of these kinds of contested roles open, number one. And remind me next session so that I don't forget. But I'll try to be conscious about doing that. Because you're right, it is more fun to roll dice and compare numbers.
Okay.
Cool. Is that everything for the debrief? You guys
I think
got
so.
XP, 2 points for everyone.
Mhm.
And I guess we just do sign out stuff.
Yep.
So,
You go
I'm Red
first.
Rabbit. You can find me on startplaying.games/GM/Red Rabbit and book a game with me. And that's it for me.
Yep. I'm Griffin. This is Theta. We run this stream. Hey, come see us on Sundays and Wednesdays, starting at 10, 2, and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we have a variety of different games going on. Come and see us. Theta, what's coming up next today?
Nothing.
Nothing at all. Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
I
well,
believe it is
Pathfinder's on
Thanksgiving.
break. Yeah, Pathfinder's on break today for people to get pre-prepped on their cooking for tomorrow.
There you go.
And I am Arklord. I play Connor, and I tend to play characters that are well out of my league. That's all I've got.
There you go.
Nah.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for being here. Thanks for playing, watching, and have happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to everybody in the U.S.
Happy holidays, peoples.
See ya.
See ya, everybody.